Hi, my name is Mike Masterson. Today I'm going to be discussing fiber optic media quite often used with our industrial network switches. So what we're looking at here are cross sections of individual strands of fiber. You'll notice on the left the OM1 fiber is 62.5 micron. That's the oldest and most standard of the multi-mode fibers. Next we have the 50 micron fiber, which is a slightly smaller diameter. And then to the far right, we have the single mode fiber, which is, you notice the diameter is 9 microns. One thing consistent among all this is that the diameter of the cladding, the outside, is always going to be 125 microns. Well, why is this significant? Well, this also has to do with the transmitters that are going to be utilized for this. Because the core of the multi-mode fiber is so big, we typically use LEDs or VCSEL lasers, which are a low-powered laser for transmission. On single-mode fiber, we typically will use strictly lasers on it. The fiber itself, multi-mode generally transmits at 850 to 1310 nanometers, while single mode cable is generally around 1310 and 1550 nanometers. These fiber types are not interchangeable. You cannot connect a single mode fiber to a 60 multi-mode fiber link and expect it to work. So multi-mode fiber has been around for quite a while. The standard generally came out in the mid-80s. The 62.5 micron was predominant at that time. But around 1998, 50 micron fiber came out. That was the first time we started seeing multi-mode fiber. And typically where I saw these installations were in government and universities. That's where 50 micron really took off for the OM2 level. OM3 level, that is for 10 gig Ethernet. So that is a fairly new standard, and for our industrial purposes, OM1, OM2, and OM3 are generally the only things we should be concerned about. The OM4, which is 40 gig Ethernet, and the OM5, which is considerably faster than even that, which typically we're not going to see in our industry. That is typically for enterprise level switch systems. As we look at our different categories of fiber, and one thing I neglected to say, the OM1, OM2, OM3, OM4, and OM5 designation, the O stands for optical, the M stands for multimode. So I just want to give you a heads up on that. Typically what we see most of our industry is fast Ethernet. Anything on multimode is basically, as long as we're just doing 100 base FX Ethernet, we're good for 2 kilometers. When it comes to gigabit on our multimode fiber, you'll notice that the 62.5 OM1 has a shorter distance than the OM2 fiber. Again, that's one reason the OM2 fiber was brought out. It was for longer distances. And for 10 gigabit Ethernet, you'll notice the differences for the shorter distances for the OM1, OM2, OM3 as compared to OM4 and 5 levels. 10 gig Ethernet is probably in our industrial situations is the highest speed we're going to see. And typically this will be on the back of enterprise layer switches. That's where we're going to see these speeds. Generally, we are not going to see them out in the field. Also, when it comes to fiber, there is a standard color code. The only thing is not everyone uses it. But typically, if you go into look at your patch cords and you see orange, that is almost always going to be OM1 or OM2, which is going to be, from previously discussed, either 62.5 or 50 micron fiber. The aqua color, or the teal color you'll see quite often, is for specifically always going to be 50 micron, and it is laser optimized. I do want to let you know that your OM3 fibers are backwards compatible with your OM2 fiber cables. So you can mix and match going backwards. So you can go from an OM3 to an OM2 and it will not hurt anything. So yellow is typically what we see for single mode fiber. Now I will say there is no standard. One thing you will notice, Rockwell makes their patch cords for the redundancy modules. They are single mode, but they are a black jacket. You cannot take it for granted that there is a color code to follow, but the basic ones are orange for OM1 and OM2. OM3 is always going to be teal or aqua, and then yellow for single mode type fiber. Thank you for watching this video. If you have any additional questions, feel free to reach out to your local sales office or contact us online.